late night host Jimmy Kimmel has been canceled by the FCC for speech they didn't like. First Amendment concerns aside, several entertainment unions also pointed out the job-killing nature of the move.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Let's get right into last week in Southern labor. This is what happened in the U.S. South and the colonies over the past week when it comes to union organizing and other working class issues. So we'll start with new campaigns. Really excited about this. 52 workers at North Hill Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Birmingham, Alabama, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, RWDSU. The employer filed a petition to hold a union election after a majority of the 65 workers at Tom Thumb grocery store in Dallas, Texas, demonstrated support for the union with the United Food and Commercial Workers UFCW Local 1000 and 540. At another location in Duncanville, Texas, with 111 workers, another location in Dallas, Texas, with 34 workers, and another location in DeSoto, Texas, with 102 workers. So way to go, UFCW out there in Texas. The employer filed a petition to hold a union election after a majority of the 116 workers at Albertsons in Fort Worth, Texas, demonstrated support for unionization with UFCW Local 1000 and 540. Another one for them. 380 workers at Genesis Logistics in Stafford, Virginia, filed a petition to hold a union election with Teamsters Local 322. 380 workers at 3M Company in Springfield, Missouri, filed a petition to hold an election with the United Steelworkers, USW. 80 workers at Bacardi Bottling Corporation and Distribution Center in Jacksonville, Florida, filed a petition to hold an election with Teamsters Local 947. And 19 workers at Johnson Brothers in Irving, Texas, filed a petition to hold a union election with Teamsters Local 745. Jumping to campaign updates, 15 U.S. senators wrote a letter to Wells Fargo demanding they cease their, quote, significantly more aggressive anti-union campaign as the Communication Workers of America, CWA, continues to win elections and build pressure. In election results, 53 workers at Transdev Services in Rosenberg, Texas, voted 31-2 in favor of the union with the Transport Workers Union of America, TWU. 13 workers at Starbucks in Dallas, Texas, voted 7-6 in favor of unionization with Starbucks Workers United. 21 workers at another location in Columbia, Missouri, also voted in favor of the union, 11-1. 52 workers at UNFI in Richburg, South Carolina, voted 27-15 in favor of unionization with the Teamsters Local 509. 330 workers at HCA Florida Fort Walton Destin Hospital in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, voted 215-115 in favor of unionization with the National Nurses United, NNU. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. 64 workers at Sibelco in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, voted against the union. The tally was not on the NLRB site, but it was a United Mine Workers of America, UMWA, election. 174 workers at another location in Bakersville, North Carolina, also voted against unionization, 55-100. 175 workers at Highline Warren in Glendale, West Virginia, withdrew their petition for a union election with the Teamsters, Local 697. And the NLRB dismissed a decertification petition to remove the Teamsters Local 89 as the union representing 6 workers at IMI Irving Materials in Scottsville, Kentucky.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Moving on to grievances, unfair labor practices, and court cases. Labor Notes has a great piece out just the past week or so, by a friend of the show, Bill Berry, on how to defend members from politicized firings in a union workplace. He concludes by saying, quote, ultimately, the just cause section of the union contract offers protection for all workers. It's important for a steward to stress this point to other union members who may be inclined, due to the nature of the off-duty episode, to let the boss get rid of a coworker without making a convincing case. Enforcing the contract for one is enforcing the contract for all. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals reversed a lower court decision, now deciding in favor of Trader Joe's that the branded merchandise of their workers' union, Trader Joe's United, infringes on the company's intellectual property. In strikes and bargaining, the Chattanooga Area Labor Council is pushing the Chattanooga City Council to pass a resolution supporting Volkswagen workers as they negotiate for a fair contract following the workers' recent unionization with the UAW, United Auto Workers Local 42. As Boeing workers in St. Louis, unionized with the International Association of Machinists, IAM, continue their strike, other area unions are coming out to support them on the picket line. And again, we'll talk more about that one later in the show. Workers at Starbucks are approaching 4 years without a contract, and their union is now threatening an all-out strike in the fall if they don't get one soon. Workers at American Consolidated Natural Resources, Inc., and Iron Synergy, which has locations in West Virginia and whose members are unionized with the UMWA, ratified a new 5-year collective bargaining agreement that the union claims includes, quote, significant improvements in wages and other contract provisions with no changes to health care or other benefits. Members of Unite Here, Local 23, who are on strike at Hilton Hotels in Houston, announced that they will remain on strike until September 20th. Teamsters at Southern Glazers in Florida ratified a new 4-year collective bargaining agreement that the union says contains wage increases, a Teamsters health plan, and more. After 2 weeks on the picket line, UAW members at GE in Kentucky and Ohio ratified a new contract. The union says they won on their 3 major issues: securing strong job protection language, protecting workers from rising healthcare costs, and getting more paid time off, along with raises. United Campus Workers, UCW, CWA, at Berea College in Berea, Kentucky, won sick leave for their members at the college. Really exciting to see that. In political and legislative updates, of course, we mentioned it earlier, late night host Jimmy Kimmel has been canceled by the FCC for speech they didn't like. First Amendment concerns aside, several entertainment unions also pointed out the job-killing nature of the move. RWDSU came out against expanding H-2B programs to meatpacking, highlighting a recent Economic Policy Institute report that such a move would lower wages. Congress members in the U.S. House introduced the Faster Labor Contracts Act last week, a pared-down version of the PRO Act. While the PRO Act would have been an overhaul of the entire collective bargaining system, the Faster Labor Contracts Act would focus on bringing employers to the table after workers win a union election, imposing mandatory bargaining within 10 days of a win, mediation after 90 days, and mandatory binding arbitration after 30 days of failed mediation. The Teamsters' Sean O'Brien is the primary driver behind the push. Legislation was introduced in the Senate earlier this year. And in internal union affairs, another union reform caucus just dropped this week. Really exciting to hear about this. This one is called the Caucus of Rank and File Electrical Workers, CREW, within the IBEW. Keith Brower Brown writes about it for Labor Notes. Definitely check that out. RWDSU members at Treehouse Foods in Farmers Branch, Texas, flexed a rarely used contract provision requiring company-paid-for training for stewards and supervisors, covering multiple topics, including grievance administration and resolving workplace conflict. That's all we have for Last Week in Southern Labor this week. Just a reminder, there's a lot we didn't get to on the air, so you have to subscribe to the newsletter. Go to tvlr.fm/contact. You can get on our list, and you can check out the full report of everything happening throughout the week in the union world in the South.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.